It's time. Let's review the albums from this week.
Let's
We
do
have
it,
a
bro.
new album from Ka, The Thief Next to Jesus. We have a new album from Big Sean, Better Me Than You. We've been waiting on this one. It got pushed back a couple weeks. They're both here now. Let's do The Thief Next to Jesus by Ka first. Let me
Okay.
know what you think. It's not available on streaming yet. If you want to listen, you have to pay $20 for the album on his site or go listen to a leak on YouTube. It's not on streaming. It'll be on streaming soon. I guess this is the thing he does with all of his albums, but yeah, let me know what you thought.
So this is my first time really listening to Ka. Definitely diving into like a whole album experience. And it was great. I'll just start off by saying that he opens the album by saying money is money this, money that, all that shit, dummy rap. And he continues to kind of give his take on the current rap culture. You know what I'm saying? About rapping about all the same shit. Um, and he says that it started as empowerment and now it's just past that, which I think is a good point. And one thing you'll really notice through this review is that this is like a super deep, meaningful, like concept driven, like thoughtful album. You know what I'm saying? And it makes sense why it wasn't released on streaming instantly, because this is truly a piece of art. But right off the bat, hot start, he goes into the next track, Beautiful, with a switch up on flows, which I thought was really impressive in terms of just rap ability. The flow on Beautiful was great. The church like samples and sounds like throughout the album really played into the concept. Um,
Yeah, there's like a lot of soul sampling in the beats and the production, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got the thoughtful, introspective lines on Tested Testimony. He said, did a lot of mourning, friends ain't make it overnight, no food left. He's really talking about all his struggles with, not only his personal life, but his life, involving his faith. So that's one thing, again, that you'll see constantly come up throughout this album. Uh, but in terms of just rapping ability, he's got more than impressive wordplay throughout the whole album. Each bar really feels extremely planned out and highly executed. He's got the deep, very thoughtful and real intros and outros explaining like the conflicts, the concept of the album. So go listen to it. He says if he really wanted to bless me, he would have left me that collection plate, saying, kind of questioning his faith in God, and
Shout out God, come on the
and
show.
and some, not only his faith, but a reason why a lot of people might also um, question their faith, because he really like dives into the point where you might be questioning your faith if you pray a bunch of times and nobody answers, or you go to church and this and that, you still have a shitty ass life and shit. So he really dives into like the deep, thoughtful shit revolving religion here. But throughout he says um the soul and spirit intro I thought was great, talking about why the beat is secondary and the message is really what matters. And that's one thing that really stood true throughout this album. And I forget what song it was. I think it was Such Devotion. Yeah, Such Devotion. He starts off with saying, while you're broke, crushing coke, don't take much coaxing. And he's kind of saying that, like, selling drugs is easy. It's the easy way out. And, he's kind of pushing people to better themselves and take better routes. Um, and he's got some lines in here that we can resonate with. He says, "My Kim been dwindling, can't afford to lose another member." Like, this is a very deep and heavy album. Probably one of the most meaningful of the year. Fragile Faith, explaining why, like I said, why not only himself but many Christians probably question their faith when they've been down for so long, praying with no answers. And he's talk about hypocrites in the Christian faith as well. So it's really revolved around Christianity. Like, a big part of it is revolved around Christianity. The big concept of the album, obviously, it's called "The Thief Next to Jesus," but overall, it was a great album. It's probably the most meaningful album this year in terms of the messaging, explaining on Soul and Spirit intro that the rhythm and beat is secondary, but what truly matters is the message that they carry. And he demonstrates that throughout the whole album. Talking about his struggles in his life, like I said, his faith, and explains why other people might question their faith, and giving his take on the mainstream rap scene, like I mentioned, amongst other meaningful messages throughout the whole album. And I didn't even really mention the technical rapping performance, the metaphors, the wordplay, the double entendres. You know what I'm saying? Just the cadences and the messaging throughout the whole album is kind of insane. The concept carried throughout the whole album with the soulful samples, the beats, the production, the thoughtful monologues. I mean, it's arguably the most thought out album this year. I think I gave it like an 8.75 out of 10.
That's definitely high for a
Yeah.
35-minute runtime album.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's what I want. I've said this multiple times. I don't want to listen for an hour and a half. I think even 20 songs is too much. Like 10 songs,
I
10
mean, yeah.
3-minute songs, that's perfect. That's literally perfect. So the runtime, like, that's a good point too. I thought was great. Nothing left behind. The sequencing was good. You know, no spare, like no skips, you know what I'm saying? No wasted tracks, which is thoughtful, you know what I'm saying? And plays into the quality of the album.
I mean, yeah, the rapping. I actually haven't listened to a Ka album in full before either. I listened to a few tracks knowing that we were reviewing this week. Like, his rapping, he's not like doing anything crazy lyrically, like bunch of weird word gymnastics, but like his delivery is spot on, his lyrics are spot on, they're deep, they're meaningful, and like my favorite part about this album though is like the beat selection and the production. Like I basically loved every beat on here. That might have been like, I don't know, the production quality isn't as crisp and clean as like maybe a big studio album, but the beat selection, it's got like this underground, grimy, old school vibe that I love. I don't know. Whoever, I think he produced like most of this himself, at least according to the Genius. Like it seems like
Yeah.
it's almost all self-produced, if
Yep.
not all of it. I really loved like all the beats on here. There's just like this is like the definition of like a really great underground hip hop album, and it's 2024. You don't get many of these nowadays, and it just like reminds me of a lot of albums we grew up on, like even like some of the old OF stuff where maybe the production quality isn't the best, but there's just like something unique and great about it. I really liked it too. A few of my favorite songs: Bread, Wine, Body, Blood, Beautiful, Borrowed Time, Such Devotion. I agree there's no skips. I think it's what, 14 songs, 36 minutes or something, but I thought it was really good. Maybe you wanted like a one or two high energy fun like radio play
Yeah,
songs, but that's not what this is.
yeah, nah, it
But
just wouldn't fit in the track
yeah,
list. It doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying?
but
But
I'm not quite as high as you. I'm at an 8.0 out of 10. I'm still
fair
pretty high.
enough.
Like I really liked it. I
Fair
did
enough.
really like it.
I think maybe where our disconnect comes in, you said he wasn't doing like lyrical gymnastics. Like I thought the metaphors and the wordplay he was using was like some of the best I've seen maybe all year. Like there was shit because I was using Genius, and when you listen, you listen, you hear the shit, but when you're reading it, it's like, oh, what the fuck? That's what he said, and he meant this, and and there was
Yeah.
like that's Ka's one of them artists where you kind of have to dissect every little line and fucking word. At least it seemed like on this album. So yeah, that might be where the differentiation in the 0.75 comes from. But you know, bar none, one of the most meaningful and best messaging albums of the year, definitely.
I mean, yeah, it's really good. It's like the definition of a good underground hip hop album, especially in like modern times. Like you don't get many albums like this. Really strong. I'm definitely down to put this in almost perfect, like toward the upper echelon of
I
almost perfect,
think, bro, I
probably.
think it's perfect album. To be honest, I think it's on the level with Rich Ass Haitian.
You're
Like,
that high.
I think maybe the rap, I think maybe the rapping was slightly better on Rich Ass Haitian, but in terms of the messaging, this is right up there with it.
But the production quality on this is not up to par with those other perfect albums.
I kind of disagree. What was your ifs with the production? I didn't mind the
I
production at all. I
I
thought it was great.
I love the production. It's just it's not like the production quality is what's lacking. Like there's like mixing issues. Like they don't sound like crisp, clean songs. I don't know. It's just hard for me to want to put it in perfect album.
I don't know. I feel like we have to. I don't know. Um,
I mean, I definitely
it's
like it
tough.
better than a lot, like almost all of these. Like I'd be okay with putting it right there. I just don't know if it's perfect to me.
I think it is though, because I mean the production I didn't really have an issue with, and other than that, it's basically perfect. Like the production is really the only thing you can take away from it. I feel like, and I didn't seem that bad to me. It stuck with the concept, the soulful flips, the samples, the monologues. Like I thought it was all great. But
I do think Perfect is a stretch, honestly.
you don't think it's as good as
I think you come in here every week and tell
Samurai?
me every album is perfect. That's what it seems like. You like love
Well,
every album
no,
too
definitely
much.
not, bro. What do you
I just
mean?
didn't think it was. I liked it a lot. I just didn't. I didn't even think there was a chance you'd want to put it in perfect.
I
I just
gave it
didn't
the
get
same
that.
exact rating as the Eminem album,
Yeah, I'm a whole point and a half off.
and I'm pretty
But
sure I gave it. Yeah,
yeah, I
I
just
mean, I
don't
gave
think
it an
it's
eight point
that
seven
high.
five. I think it's imperfect. I guess flip a coin. Why? Where are you? Because realistically, I would
I'm
be.
literally right here. I just don't think it
Well then,
deserves to be up there with
well,
those
well, we
personally.
have to. Well, we have to meet in the middle, so it is. Because I'm above mightily later.
Yeah, I guess I just don't agree. So it is what it is. I just
There
don't
you
think it
go.
deserves to be up there with those other
I
albums.
think it definitely does, bro. The
You
message,
can't
like,
even listen to this on
you
streaming.
can't. You can't point. Who fucking cares?
You
You can't
have to
point.
pay
You.
$20 to listen to this.
Who cares?
I care. That's a big part of it.
Who gives
If
a
Don,
fuck?
you would put Donda 2 in perfect, even if you had to pay $200 to get a stem
If
player
I
to listen to it.
Yes, bro. If I listen, that's beyond. That's doesn't matter at all.
I
That's
don't know. I just didn't get
you're
perfect
gonna let
album
that.
vibes from
You're gonna
this.
let that affect your score. That it wasn't free.
I mean, no, I pay for streaming. It's still not free.
So what's your
but
point?
you have to. I just don't think. When I listened to it, I was like, "There's no way he's gonna want to put this perfect." I just didn't think it was perfect.
But why though? Just
Be-
because the production?
I mean, the quality on the production, like it's not mixed and mastered professionally. Like I like all the songs.
How?
I don't think there's skips.
Give me
but
one example though, like one track that stood out that was like, oh, this is poor production.
all of them.
Literally, not one to me
Yeah,
stood out.
they're all
as
like
poor.
mixed and mastered, like an old underground, old school, like
How
underground
though?
album.
Why?
The quality is just not like up to par with modern production quality. Like I do think it's really good. I just don't think it's a perfect album by any means. But
I disagree.
if-
I don't think you can point out one album on this whole tier list that's as meaningful,
as
other than Rich Station.
meaningful, sure, maybe
That's a huge deal. Is it not?
not to me, not as much as the actual sound of it. It's definitely part of it, but I don't think it's the most important part.
I mean, yeah, this is not. It's going to be harder to like play in the car, but that's the only reason I didn't give it a 10.
I just feel like it's weird that you give albums under a 9 and then put them in perfect. Also, like that seems odd.
Well, there's no skips. I mean, I'm basing it off the other albums we have here. It's definitely better than Blue Lips and Penalty of Leadership, in my opinion, bro. For sure.
I agree.
And I think it's even better than Might Delete Later. Might Delete Later is throwaways. This is like a whole.
Yeah, I got all these
Concept.
6 over that for sure.
No way, bro. There's no way.
I mean, I do think it's right on this cusp. Like, I think it's my 7th favorite. I just don't think it deserves to be in a tier.
I definitely
called
do. I
Perfect album.
definitely do.
Like,
You can't. You just
I would
said there's
say
no
A tier.
skips.
I would say A tier for
It's
right.
S
Like,
tier.
I don't think so.
Well, you have
yeah.
to put it up there
I mean, sure, yeah. I just don't think
just
it
by
is.
the rules. But all right, there it is. Fair enough. Let's move on.
All right. Well, the next album. So the Big Sean album was delayed. It was supposed to come out like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then he pushed it back. He said he was like going through a lot, I think was the quote or something like that. There was some behind the scenes reasons why this was pushed back. But we got it today, August 30th. Big Sean, Better Me Than You. So this album I thought was kind of interesting. I didn't really love the first 4 songs. They weren't bad, just nothing really stood out to me. I was expecting to like come into this album and be like blown away right off the bat, just like we've been kind of hyping this one up. Big Sean's one of the best rappers in the game, not shown enough love. Didn't love the first 4 songs. I like the single Yes though. I liked a lot of the more high energy songs and the songs with features. I don't know. For some reason, on like 6 or 7 of the songs, I just felt like on the songs when he's trying to be like deep and introspective lyrically, it just felt forced to me for some reason. I don't know, they just didn't really connect with me for some reason. I just like maybe he's just older now and that's where he's at in his life, but I just didn't really buy it when he was being all deep and meaningful. I don't know, maybe that's a me problem.
So you
but,
think he's lying?
I mean, no, I just felt like he was like trying to be like he's
trying
like
too hard.
forcing himself to
Right.
be deep. I don't know. It just didn't click with me for some reason. But like a good amount of the songs I did really like. but there was also a good amount that I didn't like. I would say it was like 50-50 for me honestly, like on the songs. I don't think it's bad by any means. I just like was expecting more out of this. Like I thought we were going to get more high energy, braggadocious, just like Big Sean rapping his ass off songs. And we got a couple, and those were the highlights to me. Like, I don't know, I guess I just went into this with high expectations, and I still liked it. I just don't think I liked it as much as I expected to like it. I have it at a 7.4. I like my favorites were Yes, It Is What It Is, This and That, Precision, Together Forever. Like there's definitely songs on here that I do like and I'm gonna listen to, but there's also a good amount that I don't like and I'll never listen to again. So I'm kind of torn on it. I'm at 7.4 though. Yeah, I expected to like it more than I did, honestly.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it was delayed, and I was definitely expecting a solid studio album, and that's what we got. It was solid. It was definitely put together well. The production was good. The versatility was good. You got him on his upbeat shit. You got him on the R&B cuts. You got him really rapping. You know, the flows to the cadences were all good. Hot start out the gate with Iconic. Love the beat and the production. Good rapping. Solid hook.
Iconic is the one I did like in the first four. Like
Uh,
I kind of liked Iconic, yeah.
Yeah, and you said you didn't really like the first four songs. To be honest, I liked the first half. Like I liked the first few better than the latter half. I felt so. I thought it was a hot start. The flawless transition from Iconic into Typecast, I thought was great. You know, you don't see a lot of albums doing that anymore. Um, and he gets a little bit, you know, thoughtful, introspective, where he says he used to sell CDs outside of history class, and look where he's at now. Like I said, great production and feature on Break the Cycle. Great rapping, flow switches and flows, messages saying we gotta appreciate what we have while we're here. I thought the outro to Break the Cycle. Sorry, I'm lagging. I thought the outro to Break the Cycle was funny when he gets on the call with the Rock, and the Rock ends up dissing fucking Kevin Hart. That shit was kind of funny.
That was a funny
Um,
moment.
like I said, you got the R&B bangers with Superstar. You got the upbeat bangers with Yes and other songs. Great production continues throughout the whole album.
Yeah, see,
Different.
I thought the production was a weak point of this. Like, no song stood out to me as like, wow, this production's great.
The flows and cadences I thought were pretty solid throughout the album. You know, Big Sean's one of the better flowers in the game, but in terms of like he's like you said about COD, he's not really doing like any like there's no really triple entendres or like lyrical gymnastics. So like it's good rapping, but it's mostly based around flows and cadences, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? It makes for good rapping. You got the heartfelt performances with Apologize, songs like On Up that are dedicated to his son. Um, and I thought it was good sequencing throughout the album and to end the way it did. But overall, I thought it was a great project. Big Sean was rapping with skill the entire time, flow switching, the cadences, the delivery was on point. He had a good mix of sounds from the more upbeat bangers, like I said, to Yes, to the R&B cuts with Superstar. You got the braggadocious to the heartfelt bars. Got the funny moments with Rock on the call, you know, dissing Kevin Hart. Yeah, and great production. I mean,
I
yeah,
would say this
I think
production is super mid
I
for me.
think the runtime was a little bit long and it felt a little stretched out by the end. Like 20 songs is just too much. Like I'd rather have 12. I just think 20 songs is a little too much.
I mean, yeah, if
Um
I could take my 12 favorites and put it on album, I'd probably give it like an 8.3, but there was just a lot of songs that I just didn't care for.
yeah,
So it
a lot
kind
of
of
filler,
like
but
drags it down for me.
great features throughout, I thought, and good production. I give it an 8. Nothing crazy, but it was good.
I just had such high hopes for this. Like, I did expect a lot more. Like, I was ready to give this a 9.5 and throw it in the perfect tier. Like, if it was that good, and I was just like, there's songs I like, but I was definitely underwhelmed. Like,
I mean, I
I
don't
needed
know.
more from that.
I don't know. I think just I think it could go almost perfect, but it's probably top of a few misses. Cause
I
like
like it better than Summertime Butch.
okay, fair enough.
Do
I
you?
mean, it's more thoughtful. It's got deeper messaging. It's got more songs, different, more versatility, different flow switches, cadences. Like yeah, yeah, it's probably better objectively. It's just more thought out of an album. You moving shit without telling me?
I'm moving the Don Toliver album down because I also think the Big Sean album's better than that.
Well, the Don Toliver album...
I just had, like, really high hopes for the Big Sean album. I don't know. Like, I thought this was going to be, like, super good, and I was going to really like it and, like, love a lot of songs. There was just, like, so many songs I was like, this is whatever. I just don't like
So I'm curious, like, what you think is good production?
Nothing on this album stood out to me as, like, dude, this.
So what's the best
crazy.
produced album this year, you think?
The best produced album? Probably Logic's album to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, that has, like, fun, high-quality, interesting stuff going on, and the Big Sean album is just, like, super basic, average. Like, no song blew me away. Like, I like the Alchemist one. I like the Mustard, or the DJ Premier one. But, like, outside of those two, nothing, like, stood out to me as, like, great production, really. I thought it was average production. Not mid as in bad, mid as in middle. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Middle-of-the-road production.
I mean,
didn't think it was bad, I just didn't think it was
I thought it was good. It didn't blow me away. You know, it fit the style of the album. That's really all you can ask for.
It's Off the Top podcast, got you laughing like you hit the gas pack. Show is crazy like you watching Mad Max. Every other podcast is mad whack. Off the Top podcast.